What's up, guys? It's me, George, bringing you guys some MMA news. So let's dive right in, shall we? Last Saturday was UFC on Fox. This was their first fight from their four-fight contract. So there's three more to be held on the Fox network. The fights were hit or miss on some parts. The prelims were real good. Um, I believe all three awards, fight of the night, submission, and knockout of the night, went to everyone that fought on the prelims almost. Um, the first card on Fox was Damian Maia versus Chris Wendelman. Um, this fight was very interesting since Mark Munoz was supposed to fight Chael Sonnen, injured his, I believe he injured his shoulder, and they had to replace that fight. So they brought who Damian Maia's opponent was going to be, which was Michael Bisping, to fight Chael Sonnen. So they had to find a replacement for Damian Maia, which was Chris. My hats off goes to Chris for taking the fight 11-day notice. So in those 11 days, he had to train for Damian Maia, also cut weight if he wasn't at weight. So I can see how during the fight Chris got gassed out so fast. Damian Maia, on the other hand, you can tell as soon as he was getting in the ring, he looked like he didn't have that much energy or wanted to fight. Um, a lot of people are saying that's because he was ill. During lots of interviews that week, you can see him coughing and sneezing a lot. Um, so that could have caused why Damian Maia was gassed so fast. But you kind of figured that he would rely more on his BJJ, but he tried to um, stand up and strike, which he said himself that he wanted to do because he wanted to become a more exciting fighter. Now, this is my issue with that. Is yeah, it's exciting to see someone get knocked out, but you're trying to win and you are ranked number 5 in the division. So your goal should be finish the fight, either striking or jiu-jitsu, and win and get yourself to the chance to fight Anderson Silva again. But what could he do? He already was ill, supposedly. It was an impressive win for Damian Maia. It was no wait, I believe Damian Maia lost. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it was something Damian Maia should have relied more on his jiu-jitsu. But like I said, my hat's off to Chris for the win and taking the fight 11-day notice. The next fight on the card was Chael Sonnen versus Michael Bisping. This fight was very controversial. A lot of people thought Michael Bisping should have won, or at least it shouldn't have been unanimous decision. It should have gone split decision. And I kind of agree with some people. Yeah, Michael Bisping did control some of the fight. He did land some good punches in there. But Chael Sonnen as well, great wrestler, did a lot of takedowns on Michael Bisping. And it's sad to say that takedowns do count a lot in the UFC or in MMA in general. So like Dana White says, you never want to leave that to the judges because the judges usually will give the person who does more takedowns the match. Um, I really believe that, and Chael Sonnen even thought this because he even told Michael Bisping after the fight what he thought, and Bisping said, "Yeah, I think I won the two fights." Chael Sonnen said, "I agree," but the refs saw different. They gave unanimous decision to Chael Sonnen. So Chael Sonnen will now fight Anderson Silva in the summertime in Brazil. Um, I believe Chael Sonnen has a better chance on beating Anderson Silva. We seen what happened the first time where he took him down, um, pounded him, and he only lost due to a submission which Anderson Silva pulled off. I'll give credit where credit is deserved. Anderson Silva pulled that out pretty nicely. Um, Anderson Silva was saying he was injured during that time period. He had something wrong with his ribs. So now that he is fully recovered, supposedly, this fight's going to be very good. If Chael Sonnen does not return to his old self where he fought Anderson Silva, if the Chael Sonnen that fight Michael Bisping shows up, there's no way Chael Sonnen could win. So what Chael Sonnen needs to do is evaluate his game, um, learn a lot more of his striking, and rely more on his wrestling, like he did on Bisping, but sharpen it up more. The last fight on the card was Rashad Evans versus Phil Davis. This was also a number one contendership, and it was a pretty interesting fight. There was a pretty bad blood between Rashad and Phil Davis, because Rashad's from wrestling in Michigan, and Phil Davis was for Penn State. So they wanted to know who was the better wrestler. And during this fight, I'm pretty sure we all found out that Rashad's wrestling is to MMA standards, meaning I'm not saying Phil Davis's wrestling was garbage. It's just not up to Rashad's MMA standards. Rashad did a lot of takedowns. He had him on the crucifix mount, landing some nice elbows, some solid punches, and this one went all this in all 5 rounds, and unanimous decision went to Rashad Evans. He will get his number one contendership to fight John Jones, which Rashad has been number one contender for almost a year, but with all his injuries, John Jones stepped up, beat Shogun, and will now be John Jones versus Rashad for the belt. And those two had real problems against each other. There's been a lot of things said, and that builds up for one great fight. I believe this fight is set for UFC 145, which is in April, so it's pretty close. It's going to be, I believe, 10 weeks. Yeah, in 10 weeks, I believe. So these guys are going to get training right away. I can't wait to see that fight. This week, this Saturday, February 4th, is UFC 143, I believe, or yeah, I think it is 143, and this one is Carlos Condit versus Nick Diaz for the interim UFC champion. It's going to be a great fight. Nick Diaz always comes to fight. He has great boxing, great jiu-jitsu. Carlos Condit as well. Carlos Condit was the last WEC champion, and Nick Diaz was the last Strikeforce champion. So those two are going to go at it. Winner will be interim. Will fight GSP to unite the titles. GSP wants Nick Diaz to win. He is hoping, he is praying, because he wants to beat up Nick Diaz. I've never seen GSP act this way. There's been a lot of interviews with GSP. He really hates Nick Diaz. This is the first time I've ever seen him. Not even Josh Koscheck got to GSP this way. And I really hope that Nick Diaz does win so we can see that fight finally happen. It's been almost years in the making, basically, since Nick Diaz left the UFC and GSP won the belt. Nick Diaz has been calling him out. So, that fight, Nick Diaz versus Carlos Condit, will be this week on pay-per-view, so check it out. And if you go to certain movie theaters, they will have that fight in 3D. So that's it, guys. I'll see you next Monday for some more MMA news, and stay tuned to this channel during the week. Well, I'll be doing more tech videos and some gaming stuff as well. Alright, guys, that's it. Peace out. See you next time.